G'day, kia ora koutou. Welcome to the parenting segment of Papa Kāinga or Home Learning TV. I'm Nathan Wallace. Today's key message is so fundamental to the whole family or whānau's well-being that we've got the same session for the morning as the afternoon. Today's key message, keeping calm matters. So, it's probably good to start with why. Why is keeping calm so fundamental to not only your child's well-being, but also to your well-being? Let's take a look at that. The way I usually explain it to parents is to get them to understand your brain works like it's on a set of scales. Now, we divided the brain yesterday into 3 different categories. For today, we're just dividing it into 2 really, lower brain and upper brain. Upper brain, we're going to say, is the frontal cortex, higher intelligence, the ability to control emotions, see things from other people's point of view, all the wonderful stuff where resilience is that we want as parents. And the other half is the lower brain, focused on survival, fight, flight, freeze. The reason calmness is so important to overall brain function is because that survival brain and that learning, thinking brain work like they're on a set of scales. So if we understand how scales operate, we know that scales can't be that both sides go up at the same time and both sides go down. In fact, for scales to work, they have to work in relationship to each other. If one side's up, then the other side's down. If the other side comes up, then the other side's down. Understanding scales, and you pretty much understand exactly how your brain works. Because if we want you to access all of your higher intelligence on this side here, develop resilience, higher intelligence, control your emotions, stay calm, then we have to make sure that the survival brain on the other side is nice and calm and down here. If, say, you're nice and calm, your brainstem's nice and calm, you're using all of your higher intelligence, and then a gun goes off behind you, then boom, bang, as soon as that gun goes off, the brainstem takes over, and that means you lose access to things like higher intelligence, the ability to stay calm, regulating your emotions. That's just a quick crash course on why staying calm is so important to the human brain, because it works on a set of scales. If we want one side to be up and have all those wonderful stuff, then we need the other side to be down, nice and calm. Still using our handy brain model, your brain doesn't really operate like it's an on-off switch all of the time. I mean, it certainly does if someone fires a gun at you, then certainly your brainstem tends to be aroused, and so all those good frontal cortex behaviours go offline. But it's, in normal day life, it operates more like a dimmer switch. That means if you get up in the morning, say, and you've had your morning coffee, so you've calmed your brainstem, and you've engaged all this wonderful behaviour, but then you say, go to get the keys off the top of the fridge, and the keys aren't there. Now, your brain doesn't react the same way to lost keys as it does to gunfire. So lost keys is not going to make fight, flight or freeze take over. It's what we call downshifting. It just means there's a little bit of arousal in your brainstem, so you lose a little bit of frontal cortex. When you go, oh, I thought the keys were on top of the fridge. But then you're still more cortex than you are brainstem, so you retrace your steps and you work out, oh, well, I was wearing my green jacket yesterday, they must be in my green jacket pocket. And they're not there either. So you downshift a little bit more and your brainstem's a little bit more aroused. So you look on top of the fridge again, they're still not there. Then you run out to the car and have a look in the car to see if you left them in the ignition. And they're not in the car either, so your brainstem's more aroused. Then you look on top of the fridge again, still not there, more aroused. By the time you find yourself sticking your hands frantically down the back of the couch trying to find the keys, you get to a point where you realise that your lower intelligence or your survival brain is now in the driver's seat and has taken over from your higher intelligence. I generally know that's happened for me when I'm looking on top of the fridge for the 4th time. The human frontal cortex is really the most intelligent biological structure in the known universe. It knows if your keys weren't there the first 3 times, they're not going to be there the 4th time. So this is where we practice our own, meditation, mindfulness, self-calming, self-soothing techniques so we can calm that brainstem down and re-engage the frontal cortex. So there you go. That gives you a good understanding of that survival response in the brain. In extreme situations, it's an on-off switch, but usually in life what we're trying to do is just calm that down all the time. Now, I can't think of a better man to talk to about how to keep our kids nice and calm during this than our mate Nigel. So I had a conversation with Nigel Laddie yesterday, so let's see if he's got some pearls of wisdom to share with us. Kia ora, Nigel. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me, mate. Really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, Nathan.
Excellent. So everyone's waiting with bated breath. What great words of wisdom do you have for us, Nigel? Yeah, look at concern.
I got nothing.
Our topic's keeping calm.
Yeah.
We're talking about the importance of just keeping a kid in a normal routine, getting regular exercise. Any tips or tricks for that?
Yep. No, I think it's kind of the reason everybody is saying the same thing is because actually it's the simple things that work. So what we've been saying to parents is your single most important job above everything else is keeping your home calm and settled, and that trumps everything else. It's like don't fret about school and learning. Don't fret about screens. Don't fret about any of that stuff. Just keep your house calm and settled. Don't feel guilty about any of the things that you do to keep your house calm and settled, because anything that you do to keep your house calm and settled is the right thing to do.
Right, I love that, because that's ultimately what's at the base of all of it, isn't it? You're going to achieve all that other stuff when you're calm and settled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And have you put that into practice with your own kids, Nigel? Locked in with your own children?
I really have to. I've got a 17-year-old, and so he's downstairs and he sleeps till 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. He gets up at 1. We cross over briefly at dinner time. Our dinner time conversations are the current thing that he's outraged about, whether that be tofu or something that I've said or done. We have this really very interesting conversations, and then he goes back into his room. It's just me and the wife and the dog again. So, like, we're really lucky. We have a warm, dry home. We feel very privileged and grateful for the. I feel for the people with little kids right now. That's going to be stressful and difficult.
That's probably my most frequent thought, is a wee bit of, it's not survivor's guilt, but all that I don't have young children, because I've had years and years and years of young children, and I know how hard it is, and I know how much harder this would have been. I've got my 21-year-old, and she's just bliss. Beautiful.
Yeah. I know. If this had happened when my guys were like 6 and 9, it would have been really hard. But it's like, even I still, I was thinking about what I would have done. I would have done exactly the things I'm saying to people to do. I would have said, I would have let my guys watch TV if that made life easier. If they wanted to do schoolwork, I would do schoolwork. If they didn't, I wouldn't. My kind of thing about learning is, and reading and stuff like that, like, I never fought them about reading, because there's so many things that want to teach them that learning is dumb. You don't want to make learning a chore. So I never really pushed that stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. The key thing was engagement. If you're not engaging them and you're making them do it, then you're just teaching them that learning is drudgery, and that does not create lifelong learning. Yeah. So
when my oldest son was 5, he went through a period of not wanting to. They give the little books you got to read from school, when he was tired and grumpy and he didn't want to do it. And I know that homework doesn't do anything in terms of kids' education. I don't give a crap about homework. And so I would say to him, "Okay, dude, read me the shortest word in that book, and I'll sign your form. I'll say you did it. I'm going to sign that little thing away." And because he was 5, bless his little soul, he would open up the book and go, looking for and then after 2 or 3 pages, he'd figure out that was the shortest word, and he'd go, and I go, right, done, signed, off you go.
Excellent. We must have gone to the same parenting school. I had the same thing. I wanted to just engage. I wanted them to love reading. And if it was going to be miserable, it would. So I'd be just like, I'll just read the book to you if you like. So at nap time tomorrow, you do have some vague idea of what's going on. But we only read it if he wanted to, because I knew that under 7, what I've got to develop is a love of reading, not a drudgery. Yeah.
And I think it's really important for parents to understand that the kind of the science is on the side of actually that. So you don't need to feel like you're failing your kids if you're not doing 4 or 5 hours of learning a day. You don't need to feel like you're failing your kids if you do no schoolwork in the course of a day. It's just keeping it calm and finding little ways for them to learn and do stuff along the day, or not. You don't even have to have some creative alternative, hidden learning and everything thing. No. Just they watch a bit of telly where you do some work, and then go out for a walk, kick a ball in the backyard. Like that's fine. You'll still raise good human beings.
Yes, so much of the benefit and what raises good human beings is that being together. And so I agree with what you say. Hey, we've run out of time, Nigel, but thank you. That turns out they were words of wisdom, even if you didn't think they were going to. So really appreciate that, mate.
Thanks, Nathan.
Bubble, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Good man. Thanks, Nigel. So we've looked at the why your children need to stay calm. What about the how, strategies? So the first strategy we'll look at is that really in times like this, you as the parent need to be the child's source of information. If they're surrounded by constant updates over the phone and watching the news, it can tend to arouse fear, and that's associated with an aroused brainstem, not associated with all their good outcomes. So you as the parent be the source of information, and you decide how much your child needs to know so they stay nice and calm. Again, you're the expert on your child, so you know how much that is, but just be conscious of that. Now I know this is a stressful time and teenagers and children might appear to be more reliant on their screens now than typically because they can't get out of the house, but I would caution against you just falling back into letting them be on the screen all the time. So children that have 2 hours a day, every day of device-free time seems to make them somewhat resilient to those negative impacts that screens have. We've run out of time. Kia ora moto tautoko whānau. Keep your feedback rolling in. Just go to nathanwallace.com, scroll down, there's a link to Facebook. You can leave all your comments there. See you next time. Ka kite.